Hello my friends, welcome back to another tutorial. This week I'm going to paint a beautiful snow scene, seeing as we're going into wintry months. I have a 16 by 20 canvas here next to me. I primed this once with an oil-based undercoat, a simple household undercoat. Okay, any undercoat at all will do, oil-based, thinned out with some turpentine, and one coat. Okay, that's it, one coat. It's lovely and smooth. Um, I'm going to be oiling the sky on this with some linseed oil, all right, just to make it nice and oily and to allow blending much easier. Okay, so a nice snow scene, you can probably see it here, warm pink, purples, violets, all that kind of beautiful colors, wintry colors. So let's have a bit of fun with this. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you to all my patrons. I sincerely appreciate all your support. Okay, let's go. Don't go anywhere, grab your brushes and let's have some fun with this. Okay my friends, here we go. Canvas ready to go. My colours: titanium white, alizarin crimson, Naples yellow, phaylo blue, lamp black, magenta and burnt umber. They're my colours. Let me see now. I might use a touch of burnt sienna as well, just for some foliage, and some of the browns. There's a reference photograph, isn't that lovely? Lovely warm snow scene, wintry scene. It's simple, but I think very effective. And this will make a beautiful painting for any wall, I think. So, without further ado, I'm going to take some linseed oil, okay? Just regular linseed oil. You can see that? Take some of this with some tissue or a rag, an old rag, and let's simply oil very lightly. You can see a very thin, you will probably see when you're doing this, if you're doing this, a very thin layer of a shiny oil going onto your canvas, okay? And I'm really being very sparing with this now, just a very thin coat. And I promise this will make all the difference when you're painting. All the difference. It will make your sky nice and oily, and not too oily. When I say oily, I don't mean kind of oil-y, but it'll help your paints flow nicely across the canvas, okay? That's really all I want to do. And this just helps to stop the paint kind of soaking into the canvas, okay? Here and there. That's it, done. Very light coat. Put that away. I have some turpentine with some linseed oil already here. You see that? Slightly kind of a yellowy colour. Only slightly. Turpentine with some linseed oil. A drop of linseed oil. So let's go. Let's have a bit of fun. I'm going to start with a big brush. Now, I was going to use a regular paintbrush for this sky. I still might. Should I use this? Maybe I should. I think I'll try this. I don't have anything bigger. I only have this brush, but it's kind of fairly tough and it needs a good clean, so I might just leave this. I also have this cheap brush, look. I could use that. I think I'll try this big brush. Any big brush will do, okay? Any big brush. If you have a slightly smaller one, it's fine. I'm going to dampen that and I'm going to start mixing colours. Nice warm blue up here. Let's get some phaylo blue and lots of white. Now, a good bit of thinners into this. Let's mix that up there like that. Now, I'm not used to using big brushes like this. I really am not. So, I'm just going to see how this goes as I'm doing it. Little magenta. Some more blue. Mix that up. Nice warm blue. Let's try this and see. That's not bad. Yeah, that's okay. I think a bit more magenta is needed. And I'm taking off just tiny amounts of colour. Not loads of colour, okay? Which I need. I'm not going crazy with lots of colour, just little bits. Look, that's all you need, little bits. A little bit more magenta. And you can play around with colours on this as well. And that's the beauty of painting oils like this. You can just play around with the colours and make it what you want. Now I'm going to start warming this as it comes across and down, okay? So more thinners, more white, some magenta, and perhaps even a bit of crimson. Crimson will just warm it that little bit more pinky. Magenta is a very cold pink, but crimson is a slightly kind of a warm pink. That will give you a nice warmer colour as it comes down, as it comes across as well. I'm going to start adding some white, some more crimson. Don't be shy, just go for this. Sometimes if you sit for too long and think too much about this, it doesn't work for you. You're better off just to grab the paint and go for it. Don't be shy. Look, just go for it. If we make a mistake, we can fix it, no problem at all. Don't be worried about mistakes at all. I go down my sides now as well, because I'm putting a nice floating frame on this. So that'll be nice, won't it? Okay, soften this all together. There we go, right across the top. Now I'm going to really start lightening this as it comes down, and I might even switch brushes because this brush is just soaking up so much paint. There's more paint on the brush than there is on the canvas, to be honest. So let's go for a slightly smaller brush. I'll try this one. Let me just try it and see what I think of it. No, you see there's a lot of black now inside this brush. So this could spoil the sky. So I'm not quite sure if I should use this brush or not. I'll try it, okay? I'll try it. Let's get some white. This is easier, this is much better now. And some crimson. Now I'm going to start with this colour first. You see I'm picking up a touch of the blue as well, you see that? So it's a warm pink. I'm going to try this first. And the reason I prefer using smaller brushes like this as opposed to big brushes that you might see now on, let's say, a Bob Ross video or something, smaller brushes give you a lot more control. Okay? Big brushes give you very little control over your brush strokes and where you're putting the paint. So I prefer to use a slightly smaller brush. It just feels more natural as a painter to use a nice little brush, okay? A little small brush like this. Now, let's really start lightening this as it comes down. I'm going to go into some white. Now, I just want to make sure this is actually recording, because on more than one occasion, I've recorded videos only to look back to see that there was some kind of an error or it stopped recording for some reason. So I need to make sure as I'm going that it is actually recording, okay? Now, some Naples yellow, crimson, and some white. Those three colours. So now we're going to get a lot warmer with the colour. It's more now of a lovely salmon, kind of a peachy colour, okay? A nice warm sky. And drag the paint across. I'm using a very thin layer, okay? It's a very thin layer. It's not, I don't have loads of thick paint on my canvas. Clean that off quickly with your tissue. Go into some white and some Naples yellow. And with just that colour, I want a nice glow over on this side. You see that lovely glow we have? Over on this side. Soften that across. And then just really blend all of this in together. Okay. Now I can start to see some patches on my canvas. I don't know if you can see them or not. I think that's where I missed the primer slightly. Tiny little areas. But I will go back over these with thicker paint later, so not to worry. That's the importance of priming your canvas well. I kind of slightly rushed this as I was priming it because I was kind of caught for time. So I just missed one or two tiny patches. I'm just popping some Naples yellow in here. Rich Naples yellow just on its own, okay? To give that nice little glow down in this corner. And that glow will then draw the eye in. It'll draw the viewer's eye across the canvas. I hope you can see it. Okay, let me see now. I'm going to go up with a bit of pink up here. A little more pink. So magenta and a touch of crimson. And some white. And a hint of blue. I just want to make it slightly more on the pink side up here. Softening this into the blue. And down. And you don't really have to worry about blending too much on this. If you like to have brush strokes on your canvas, you can of course just leave the brush strokes, all right? Really, do not worry about brush strokes. I'm going to darken it slightly. I think just for a bit of contrast, it needs to be darker up here. In general, when painting skies, it'll be darker at the top and light as it comes down, generally. So I'm going to mix just a slightly darker colour. Cerulean blue, or sorry, phthalo blue and magenta. And I would recommend using magenta for any snow scene. It's just the perfect colour, it really is. So, a little bit of darker colour coming down here. Softening it across. Very gently soften it down. Okay, there we are. Doesn't matter if you leave a little streak here and there with your brush, that's fine. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go with that. Let's move on down. Even though this is a big painting, there's not a huge amount of work in it, okay? So you can enjoy this type of painting. Just really enjoy it. Take it in. Soak it up, okay? Now, I'm going to mix the snow colour and I'm going to go for very, very light pink first. Some white and a hint of magenta, okay? Let me just try this first. And we can add colours to this then as we need to, you see. We can add colours. Now it's a very strong colour, the magenta, so do be careful. I could even maybe take a hint of the blue, actually. Tiny, tiny hint. So we have this kind of pinky colour for the snow. We'll add some blues into this then at a later stage, all right? But just for now, look, let's just get this snow. And we've lots of going on in the snow, don't we? Little rocks and kind of overgrowth, grass, that kind of stuff. We've a lot of stuff going on. So this will be fun. Take a touch of that blue again. You see, I'm just picking up little hints of colour from the canvas or from the palette, just here and there. So the tone going through this painting will be a kind of a mauvey colour, okay? A pinky mauve. You could even, if you wanted to, tint the entire canvas with a very light mauve like this and then work on that. I'm just not a big fan of tinting canvases. It's not something I do a lot. I prefer using the white of the canvas because it just brings out the colours a lot more. And it's easier to create your composition with a white canvas, I find. Using a tinted canvas, it requires a good degree of expertise with painting. You need to know how colours interact. You know, if you're tinting your canvas a yellow ochre or a raw sienna or something, or a burnt sienna, you then need to know how the colours will interact with that colour when you put them on. So it does take a lot of practice. I will just say that. I enjoy doing it, but it just takes a lot of practice. And only for the right subject. Okay, I'm now going to start darkening a little. I'm taking some phthalo blue, some magenta, and a hint of black, okay? But don't forget now, use a good bit of magenta in this. Touch of black. The black just kind of dulling it down ever so slightly. Okay, ever so slightly. Try a touch of crimson. I'm just going to darken this side over here with that coming across. This is what I would really call the filling in stage. Now I'm going to take some crimson and now burnt umber. So now we're going into the dark reddy browns in the picture. Okay, look at that, that's beautiful. Let's go up here and just create a little bank up here with just lots of foliage, grass, all that kind of stuff. So just lots of roughage on the ground. I leave the middle I'll do the same here. Let's just create some nice, we're just creating a little area, that's all, okay? A nice area, a rough area. I want to keep my footpath coming along. So I'll just leave the center for now. And you can see I'm really just, there's no particular technique for this apart from just kind of dabbing your brush and swishing your brush around, just creating some texture on the land. That's really all I can say. It's just that type of technique. It's a very loose technique. Just go around and just allow little bits to kind of flick upwards, soften them in. Okay, you can see what I mean. It's just creating a little bit of texture on the ground of the painting. That's all. I'll put this brush down. I think I don't need this anymore. I'm going to go to a small flat brush. Now, here we go. I'm going to start painting some of these rocky areas up here. I'm going to go with burnt umber, some magenta, I'll then take a little white. Now, that's a very rich colour, so a little touch of black should really tone this down. But remember, plenty of magenta. Don't be shy with the magenta. You could even use magenta and black if you wanted, but I think a little touch of brown in this will go a long way. Then a little more white, just to lighten it. And the white will make this very opaque. So we have a nice soft colour here now. Look, nice soft distant colour. Just to create little areas of little rocks, that kind of thing. Okay. A lot of this, you see, I'm softening in to the background. Okay. Let's take some more black. So we're going then into more of a grey sort of a colour, you see. It's a warm, warm grey. This is very early on, all right. I will be adding little darks and highlights into this as well. So this is very, very early. We're in the early stages of this now. So don't jump ahead. Don't get carried away. Just take your time. We're painting some little rocks. That's all we're doing. Just a small couple of rocky outcrop up there. Little bits of rocks coming along. All right. Now I stop at that, and I'm going to create sort of a ditch kind of an area over here. I'll take some of that black and some magenta, and that gives you a lovely pinky dark grey. Okay. I'm then going to just start putting in the impression of little bushes and trees. Look, little very rough bushes and all that kind of thing. Flick it upwards, flick it outwards, and just generally create a nice little area over here, a very rough area. There we go. Now, up here, look, we could just give it one or two little flicks. So there could be little touches of grass coming off of the rocks as well. Okay. Now, I will be putting a very warm colour over here as well. I'm going to take some crimson and some sienna. And I'm going to put a very rich pinky colour over here, just to simulate the sun kind of coming through this area over here, yes? So we've a lot of sun over here popping through. Let's get some more crimson into that. So we sort of have a warm side and a cool side. Does that make sense? So, phthalo blue, magenta, and a little burnt umber. Let's try that and get a nice dark area. So it's dark, but it's cool. You see that? It's a dark, rich blue, but a kind of a distant grey blue. Do you understand what I mean? I'm going to put some nice snow on these as well. I think they need a bit of snow. So I'm looking forward to doing some snow. Burnt umber and some crimson. We have a nice little warm grassy area coming through over here. And you can make this your own. I'm only just kind of glancing at the reference photograph here now, just very, very briefly, but I'm just kind of making it my own as I go, really, to be quite honest. I think it's much nicer if you can make something your own and not try and copy the reference too much. Just have a bit of fun, that's all. Just don't be shy, go for it, have a bit of fun. Come on, let's just let our natural artists run loose inside of us. Don't be shy. Now I'm not going to go with some black. I need to darken quite a bit of this. A bit of black in there, pop a bit there. You can use a fan brush for this as well. Fan brush is a good idea if you want. Okay, now let me stop and take a look at this. That's not bad though, I think that's pretty nice. Next, the next thing I'm going to do is pop in, I think, a couple of nice bright patches of snow. Take a dry brush, another dry brush. Let's get some white and some of that blue. Okay, and it's just very simply dab some snow here and there. Okay, you can even make it a whitey pinky color as well. It's just to suggest that it is actually a snow scene. Okay, so you can see it just feels that bit more of the snow scene, doesn't it? I think it does anyway. Now I get a fan brush and I'm going to dampen the fan brush, okay? Take some white and some crimson. And I'm just going to dab a little touch of snow here and there, look. Again, it's just to create some texture on the surface. I'm not even dabbing, I'm kind of swirling and dragging it across here and there. As you can see, it's just really to create that look of snow. And a very rough area, that's all. I know I'm probably spending a little bit too much time on this particular area. But, you know, we just want to get it to look right, that's all. Pop a bit of snow through there and it's kind of softening everything in together then. Now, I will make this slightly darker. I'm going to mix a nice darker colour for this with the fan brush. Let's go phaylo blue, magenta, and some burnt umber. Now plenty of magenta, okay? So you're more or less going for almost a reddy brown sort of a colour, okay? And I'm going to just create some rough areas here of, could be like little grassy areas, you know, bits of stones, all that kind of thing. Just a rough, very, very rough area. Now I'll get some white and I'm going to start dragging that colour with my fan brush along, okay? Some more magenta. And this is, again, a very early stage, okay? I'll be putting some lovely snow on this later with the palette knife and all that kind of thing. So we are really in the very early stages of all of this. Look, even going around in circles just to create some colour on the snow, that's all, really. So you can sort of start to get the impression of what I'm after, a very darkish kind of a surface just on one side there. Now, let's go into our trees. We have a lot of work to do with our trees, a lot of work, my friends. And this is where I get excited because I just love, love, love painting trees. I'm just going to find a nice brush here just to paint my trunk. I'm going to start with the tree trunk on this side, okay? Dampen a nice little round brush. Let's get some burnt umber. some magenta. You could even start with these colours and darken it. I'm going to pick up a touch of black as well. Lots of turpentine in this now, so it's almost as if you're painting a watercolour, okay? Almost, but just not. It's a very thin, creamy colour. And let's start. Let's just pick a point. I'm going to go here and go around like this. And what you notice is it starts to mix with the colour underneath, and that's completely normal. I like that because it helps to integrate the tree into the landscape a lot better. It's picking up some of those colours from behind and underneath. So I like that. You see, it's creating its own little lights and darks on the tree trunk. And I just like it. It gives a nice feeling to the painting. Let's just come down here and sit this down. It needs to kind of sit down now on the ground. Okay, like that. You can use your finger to just sort of drag the end of it out just very slightly there, you see? And that helps it sit down nicely now, doesn't it? Okay, I'll switch brushes. Small pointy brush. And let's pick up some darker colour. Let's just take some black and some magenta, a little of this brown. So now we're going very blacky. It's like a blacky purpley colour, blacky, not purple, a blacky pink, okay? You'll notice it, it's a kind of a very blacky pinky colour. Again, very, very thin like a watercolour. I'll just grab my stick. This is a lot of fun, this type of painting, I love this. Let's just start putting in some branches. I'm not going to copy the photograph exactly. I'm just going to kind of glance back and forward loosely at the photograph, all right? But I'm really, right now, making this my own. I'm just adding my own little branches. Let's just put one there, like that. And then it's really a case of just putting lots of little flicks on this. Look, lots of little twigs. You may need a smaller brush for this now, by the way. This brush I'm using is not really very small. If you're having trouble with this, let it dry and continue on when it's dry. You'll have much easier and much better success trying to paint little twigs, okay, when it's dry. That's what I would say. But I might try and find a smaller brush in just a moment. But look, we'll just go with this as it is. Let's just put in lots of little flicks, creating just lots of little tiny twigs here and there. Couple on the tree trunk as well coming out. Okay, don't be shy, just go for it. All right. Then we're moving up. I'm going to start putting in more magenta. Okay, let's go up here and another one off like this. And simply just have some fun. Let your brush run riot. Let it go. Let it just go where it wants to go. Okay? And we'll come up here. Comes up a fair bit. I want to go a fair bit up into this sky. I don't want it to be too small, okay, this tree. I want it to really have an impact on the painting. If it's too small, it's going to look like it's just lost on the painting. So don't be afraid to go right up into your sky. And I know you might feel you're going to spoil your sky, but I promise you, you won't. Because it's such a neutral sky, you'll be absolutely fine, okay? You won't ruin it. So it's just going along and putting lots of these little, and you could use a small brush and create some foliage, if you like. This tree is really just lots of twigs. There's no foliage on it, but You can use a brush to create the impression of lots of twigs as well. You could use a little fan brush or something. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. Just to help fill it that little bit quicker, that's all. Now I'm going to save a smaller brush because this is a little bit too big for me. I'll try a smaller one which I have here. And I don't think this is any better either. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to come out with this lovely one here. Okay, now that brush is not working either. I need to find a small, tiny brush. I do have one here somewhere, but you know yourself, trying to find it is the problem. Okay, that's a little bit big as well. Now I do apologize, but I have to find the correct brush for this. Aha, we tried this one. It's a very small pointy brush. I'm going to add some crimson to this and a little sienna. I want just a warm, I want a slightly kind of a warm glow just at the edges of the trees. Okay, so you can see now I'm just popping lots of little flicks with my brush, that's all. Okay, you can get the idea. And you can take your time at home when you're doing this. There's no rush. You take your time. So let's just keep going and creating this lovely little tree. Even though around all the trunks here, look, you could have lots of little bits coming out and falling down. It's just about making the tree look busy. That's really all it is. And just remember, there will be branches behind the tree as well, coming up and behind the tree. So you have to give that plenty, okay, in behind. Look, just lots of even slightly faded marks as well will really help. I'm going to put one down like this, just to make it look more natural. And I'm then going to take some black, okay, just some black, and I'm going to darken the back side of this with some black. I don't know if you can hear the rain on the microphone, but it's raining outside the studio and it's creating a lovely ambience in the studio. I love when it rains and I'm painting. It's just so relaxing and so calming, isn't it? I hope you don't mind, but I love it. I really do. It's fantastic. Okay, now there's some black on the back of that. The next thing I'm going to do is create some light, some highlights on this. So I'm going to take some magenta with a little white. Let me get some white there, because it looks very flat without some highlight on it, doesn't it? They do tend to look very flat. So I'll take some magenta, some white, and some burnt umber. And that'll give you a nice light colour. Look, let's just go pop some light on. Like that. And just keep cleaning your brush in between. Wipe it on some tissue and go again. And also what I'm going to do is take some white with a little touch of blue and some magenta. and pop some nice blue onto that. Just a touch here and there, look. Isn't that nice? Gives you that nice wintry feeling. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to move across and do the other side. And I'm going to use this slightly larger round brush again. Pick up some of your dark colour, and let's just go like that, using the big brush. And let's go like that. So we have a thick kind of a piece of a tree just sticking out of the ground here. All right, then I'll go to my small pointy brush again, take some magenta, some phthalo blue. We'll try some nice dark bluey mauve on this. So the trick I find is to keep, keeping the colours similar throughout your painting. So I'm using colours from the sky in the trees and all that kind of thing. That for me is the trick, I find. Okay, and get some brown, pick up some brown, just put in the impression of some twigs and all that kind of stuff coming off of this tree in here. Then I'm going to take some burnt umber and put some burnt umber on here. And then let's try some black. So the trick is not to think too much. Just grab some colours and go for it. Don't be afraid. Okay, don't be shy. And I'm going to create the impression of, say, look, little bits of sticks sticking out of the ground, some bits of anything. It could be rocks, anything. Now I just want to give a little bit of darkness to some of those rocks up there, okay? I'm going to take a little bit of purple and just pop a little touch of it here and there, look. So you can see I'm only just suggesting little darknesses just on some of the rocks here and there, but not too much, really. It's all about just letting the viewer fill in the blanks, okay? Really, that's really what I would say. You're only just suggesting something to someone, and your mind will fill in the rest. So there, you can see it now starting to come along. And all these little touches will make a big difference, okay? Now I'm going to pop some white on some of those, because it is a snow scene, so let's just pop a few dabs of white here and there. And that will really draw in the eye, okay? Now what I'm going to do is take my fan brush, I'm going to grab some of that white and just suggest some little touches of snow here and there, settling perhaps on that tree. Just a little, look, just touches of it just here and there. You could add some to this if you wanted. I don't know, does it need it? We could possibly just add a touch of some colour. Just again to tell the viewer there's little dabs of snow on some of the twigs, and it breaks up the painting as well, okay? It just kind of breaks it up. I'm only putting a tiny bit on. Now I'm going to soften this just down ever so slightly here. Just gently dabbing it with your fan brush, okay? Just to take some of it away. And I'm going to just let this sit on some snow as well. So you can see it's all about kind of dancing around on the canvas. Now another big tree trunk, a big chunk of a tree trunk just down here on the front. I'm going to use burnt sienna and magenta. I might actually make it slightly bigger, okay? I think it needs to be slightly bigger. It's going to go like that. So a piece of a trunk that's broken off is just kind of rotting, sitting there in the snow, rotting away. A little bit of black with magenta. So again, the magenta, keeping it warm. Then we'll take our fan brush to take some of the brownie colour. Look, I'm dragging a bit of everything into it. And I'm just going to sit that down by dabbing a little bit of that colour just around at the base. See? Now I create a little purpley colour. Magenta with some blue. I'll also use that. I know I'm going too quickly for you now, I probably am. But you can see that I'm trying to just simplify it and keep it all simple. That's what I'm trying to do. Just simplify everything. Let's suggest some grasses here and there, look. Just a few. So the next thing I'm going to do now is try and create some nice snow on this landscape. And I'm going to use a palette knife. I'm going to first try my smaller knife for up on top. So let's get my smaller knife. Take some of that lovely pinky colour. You could even try a touch of crimson with some white. Okay, and a hint of Naples yellow. So a kind of a warmy colour again. That lovely warm sky colour. And I'm going to go up here and just sort of drag some of that across the landscape. Okay. And you can see immediately now, it's just creating some nice light across the landscape, isn't it? Then I start going into slightly cooler colours. So a little bit of the blue, a warm blue. Just create a little bit of warm blue on your palette. Drag that around. A little bit more magenta. Just have some fun, okay, my friends? That's what I'm going to say. It's all about having fun today. Not about being worried or apprehensive or anything like that. It's about having fun. Grab your brushes and grab your knife and let's just go for it. Let's just have a bit of fun with painting. See? You can even just go over everything you've already done. It doesn't matter. It's only paint. There we go. Look, create a bit of direction on the painting. And it's a wintry landscape, so it's going to be very rough. The ground is going to be rough. You know, it's not going to be absolutely picture perfect, is it? See? Just use our knife, drag it across. Let the palette knife drag the paint across and allow the canvas to drag it off your knife as well at the same time. See? Let's just go for it. Come on. Come on, let's have a bit of fun. That's what it's all about. And I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to put some foliage on this tree because it looks a little bit sparse at the moment to me. Don't you think? I'm going to use a small fan brush. Let's get some of this browny sort of a colour here. Look, this lovely warm brown, grey sort of a colour. Very thin. And I'm just going to start dispersing this here and there on the outside edges, okay? See? Just here and there, just to create a shape on the tree. And a little through the middle. Does that look better? I think it does. I think that looks much better. I'm happier with that. Now, next I'm going to create some little grasses here. It's not on the photograph, but I think it needs some. I really do. So I'm going to pop a few in. Some burnt umber, black and magenta. Okay. Lots of turpentine in this. And quite simply, a couple. Just a couple of little dead grasses popping up here and there, look. Not too much. We don't have to go overboard with all of this. Okay, we really don't. Now there's one more thing I'm going to do. I want to create the direction of the footpath slightly. That's one thing I just want to capture. So I'm going to just take some white with my flat palette knife here, my angular one. Take some white and I'm simply going to just drag it across like this. I want to create the impression of the direction of the footpath. Okay, just lightly. So it's coming around. You can kind of start to see what I mean. Just creating an impression of where the footpath is going and where it's coming from. Okay? You can begin to see what I'm trying to do. And a little bit perhaps just up there. Okay, my friends. And I am going to call this finished. What I'm going to do is put in somebody just walking. Okay? And let me see. I think for a splash of colour, I might use crimson with some Naples yellow. I think just for that little splash of colour. So I'll go maybe slightly off centre. Perhaps someone just, someone here, okay? It's basically just the shape of a carrot, okay? Now, I presume you know how to paint a carrot, yes. It's simply paint a carrot, okay? And then clean your brush and paint the bottom half a darker colour. See? Then a little dot for the head. Like so. Now you could bring the arms out a little bit more if you wanted. Okay. And then we need some shadow, don't we? Let's just take a little bit of a shadow colour. And which way does the shadow come from? I'm thinking slightly to the left. It's really just something to sit the person down on. That's all it is. Okay, that's really all it is. Okay, you could put the impression of tracks. Like that. Okay, it's just a very simple suggestion. But I think that's finished, my friends. And I'm just going to put one last touch in, a little bird up in the sky. Like that. And with that, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you've learned something. If anything, just to keep it simple. Just keeping things simple. That makes all the difference in your painting. And there we are. I'll zoom in slightly for you. There we go. Now I might still add a little touch of snow to that tree. I'm thinking it might need it. And even this one over here, I'm just not 100% content. Some of you may call this now just doodling for the sake of doodling. But I think just to fill it slightly, I think a touch, even a light pink look, even a light pink might just brighten it slightly. What do you think? Now, I could be ruining my painting, but I just get the feeling that I need a little touch of snow on the tree, just here and there. And it just sort of breaks up the tree trunk then, you see what I mean? I think that's better. I think that just works a little better. And there you have it, my friends. A nice little snow scene. Finished. I'll turn the camera. Now, thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to put a nice floating frame on this with maybe a nice black outside edge. That would look really nice. I'm just going to maybe just tidy up one or two small things, but in general I'll just leave it, I think. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that painting. Have a bit of fun with this. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please do subscribe, click the icon. You're missing lots and lots of fun painting tutorials. Until next time, my friends, God bless and happy painting. I'll see you very, very soon. Take care.